Hi everyone, Jackie here. So in this video I want to go over just a few points about the course. So this is the first part of two. In this first one here we're going to talk a little bit about the structure of the course. So what are we going to be doing in this course and the learning activities that we're going to have, to, including the stuff you're going to do for marks, which is, I know, what people really want to know at the beginning of the semester. So the first thing I want to do is remind everybody that we're using an asynchronous format for this course. So what that means is that even though there is a schedule attached to the course, we're not going to be meeting every class. And when we do meet, it's going to be in smaller groups, and it's not going to be a formal class. So I'm not going to do that thing where I present lectures, live lectures, or organize any of these kind of in-class learning activities where you go into breakout rooms or things like that. We will meet all together on the first day of classes during class time, January 18th, because it's the first day of classes and I want the opportunity to get to know you a little bit and for you to get to know me a little bit, and that's going to be through Zoom on Leia. So if you were around in the fall, you're probably used to this by now because some of your other teachers have done it too. So you go onto Omnibox and there's that what's new box, and it has your upcoming classes. So we're going to use that on January 18th at our class time. But all the other weeks we won't be meeting on the Monday. What's going to happen instead is that there's going to be an optional group discussion on Zoom on Thursdays during our class time. So we'll use that same link on Omnibox for Zoom. And it's not going to be a formal class. I'm going to distribute a document and an explanation of what's going to happen during those classes. You can come to as many as you want. You can come to all of them if you want. But you're only expected to come to 5 of them, and you're going to get marks for being there and participating. And again, I'm going to give you some guidelines on what that's going to look like. Nothing too stressful, I promise. You're not going to be doing any presentations or anything like that. Yay! Unless you want some, just let me know. So every week, instead of coming to class, you're going to be doing some stuff on your own time. So I'm going to be, every week I'm going to distribute a set of activities. It's going to look pretty much the same every week, so you'll have a routine. You'll get used to a routine, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that shortly and give you more details on that as well in a separate document. And, basically it's up to each of you if you want to use the class time to work on the stuff for this course, because you like having that kind of structure, and you take that, 1.5 hour block twice a week to work on your anthropology stuff. And a lot of you will be able to complete all the activities in that 3 hours, okay? But if you want to get it all done in one chunk at another time, you can kind of set it up if you want to do a little bit on different days. You have a lot of flexibility because of the asynchronous nature of this course. I'll still be available. Again, some of you are going to see me on Thursdays during the weekly group discussions, and I'll also be available. There are a couple of ways I'm available, and there's information on that you can see on Leia as well. So I have open office hours on Zoom, Mondays 2:30 to 3:45, and Thursdays 2:30 to 4. And basically how that works, we'll jump over to Leia here, and right at the very top of the of distributed documents, and it's the same for both my anthropology classes, you see virtual office information. So there's a reminder right here of my office hours if you've forgotten, and the link is right here, and that'll take you to my virtual office. Now when you get there, you're going to be in a waiting room, and if I'm with another student, it might take a while before I get to you, but just stick around, and I'll be with you as soon as I can. And you can just drop in. You don't need an appointment. If those times don't work for you because you've got a class to go to or other responsibilities, you can go to my booking page here and click on this link. It'll take you to a booking page, and here you can kind of, my availabilities for appointments are going to be a little bit different each week, so you can just go look whatever days are highlighted. It's kind of hard to see, to tell you the truth, but you see here the 19 and the 20 are a little bit darker than all the other numbers. So if I click 19, I say, okay, Jackie's got 3 20-minute time slots here. You can pick one of them. Look at the Wednesday, there's a few more. Now, if you're not available for my office hours, and you're not available for any of these times, and you really urgently need to see me, drop me a Mayo and we'll try to find another time. I'd ask you to only do that if these times don't work for you, though, because I try to organize my week in certain ways. I'm flexible, you know, but please don't take advantage of that if you could make it to these times without harming your own kind of workflow or other responsibilities. So that's, you know, I do want to be available for people, even though we have an asynchronous class. So if that's a concern, you know, don't worry, we will, you know, have time together as needed. I'm there to support you. Weekly activities. So just a quick summary, because as I said, I'll give more information on that in a separate document. So every week you're going to be given a chunk of the textbook to read, and you know, that's going to be different for everybody. Some people read fast, some people take their time. I suggest that you engage with the reading. There's a separate presentation about the textbook, but there's some really cool, it's online, so you know, because of the circumstances, we weren't able to have physical copies of the book, but, you know, so that might be disappointing if you're like me and you like to write in your books. But it does have some cool features that allows for highlighting, different colors of highlights. You can create your own notes and flashcards, and it's actually got some pretty cool features. Plus it has text to voice. So if you are more audio, you can have your system read the book to you. So, you know, that can be pretty cool for a lot of people. So you'll be reading a chunk of the textbook, hopefully engaging with it, taking some notes, you know. And I'll also give you a PowerPoint presentation, kind of like this one, with a video narration, but about the actual material from the book. So, you know, typically I'll be, obviously I can't cover everything, but I'll be touching on the main ideas and the main concepts. So you have some flexibility here too. If you're you can experiment with this to see if it works better for you to check out the PowerPoint with the video first and then do the reading, or if you like to read the stuff first and then watch the PowerPoint to help solidify what you learned. Everybody's different, and it's fun to experiment with that kind of thing when you have a chance, because in a lot of classes I know your teachers want you to read stuff in advance and then they talk about it in class, and for some students they have a hard time understanding what they're reading if they haven't had an explanation first. So you can kind of play around with that. So yeah, and yeah, the PowerPoints will be available without the video. You'll have the PowerPoints, and there will be a link to this type of video within the PowerPoint, as you have seen if you have gotten here, because you'll have the link to this video in this PowerPoint once it's done. So it's you can just go through the PowerPoint without my blah-blahing, but keep in mind it's kind of like in a class, right? When you go to class, your teachers, for the most part, they don't just sit there and read the PowerPoint line by line and not say anything else. We always add a little bit of extra explanation that can sometimes enhance your understanding of things. So, you know, again, it's up to you how you're going to do it. But, and yes, I know I do tend to ramble and make a lot of silly dad jokes, and I have my silly hats, but, you know, I try to kind of like keep them to 30 to 45 minutes max. If ever there's a week where there's like really a lot of stuff to cover, I'll try to split it up into a couple of shorter ones, because I know that people are just kind of exhausted from watching so many videos and going to so many Zoom meetings and stuff like that these days. So once you've done these first two things in whatever order you choose, you're going to be invited to do an interactive quiz online, and this is going to be the part that's done for marks. This is going to be due every Thursday, with the exception of the first one that I put due for the Friday to give you a bit of extra time since you'll be new at all of this. And it's interactive because you're going to have up to 5 true or false questions. The first week I only put 3, again, to give you a break at the beginning of the semester. And you know, you're going to pick true or false for each statement, but then you have to include a justification. The system that I use calls it a rationale. And then once you enter your rationale based on the material you've read, you're going to be exposed to the rationales and choices of other students. It's anonymous, so you're not going to see anybody's names. Nobody's going to see yours either, except me when I mark. And you're going to have a chance to change your answer if you want. So if you wrote something and you're like, this person chose false, and you know their rationale is really convincing, so I want to change my answer. So, and at the end, I see both of your choices and the rationale that you picked, and if you kept the same one, and you're going to get marks just for answering all the questions and just going through the process. This is called a formative assessment. I'll talk a little bit more about that when I distribute the instructions for these quizzes. So that's, you know, if we look at the global kind of thing here in terms of assessment, and again, each of these 4 components, you're going to get a document with instructions for all of them, okay? So I'm going to distribute an assignment for how the quizzes work, with how to access them, and there will be 15 of them, so 1 every week. Always due on the Thursday, except for the first week, and all, you know, they're worth 2% each, so for a total of 30% of your mark. So that's a really easy 30% to get, because it does require a bit of work and, you know, looking through your stuff. But it's not like a big essay that you have to write. It just, you know, and it helps you learn, okay? The interactive discussions on Zoom, so like I said, every Thursday, I'll be there in the Zoom room for the class, and 5 times I'm asking you to show up, and again, you're going to get instructions on what your participation can look like. And just a quick note, I'm not going to force anybody to turn on their cameras. For my mental health, I appreciate it if more people do it, because I have to say it's really exhausting to look at a bunch of blank screens, which is why I chose an asynchronous method. But you can come to the 5 you want. I suggest spreading it out over the semester and not waiting till the last minute, because then it'll be more stressful for you, because you'll be, you know, at the last minute, but also there are going to be more people because everybody's going to do the same thing. So if you want to interact in smaller groups where you might be more comfortable, start coming early on. Yeah. So, and it's not going to be anything complicated. So you bring your concerns, your questions, things you're interested in, things you can relate to. That's it. And you won't have to talk necessarily. We can use the chat function. So other than that, on these dates here, February 19th, March 12th, and April 16th, you're going to be submitting some small assignments. They're worth 15% each for a total of 45. And it's going to be based on the stuff we've been reading. I'm not going to throw anything new at you, any new research. It's in this course, everything is really based on the material we're dealing with. And the final paper, due the last day of classes, it looks like a big scary thing at 20%, but these 3 smaller assignments here that are due throughout the semester actually build up to that last one. So it's you know, for this last one, part of it is going to be going back to those other ones and reviewing based on my feedback and cleaning it up, and then there's going to be some newer stuff where you can kind of reapply these skills that you've learned. So that's kind of pretty much it for the work. I'm trying to keep it simple because we're all kind of really, we're all tired dealing with this pandemic. We're all going through some really difficult things. So I'm trying to kind of create a nice, rich learning experience for you while still kind of keeping the work manageable, spaced apart in a good way. And I hope that works for you. And if you have concerns, you can talk to me. But to paraphrase Gloria Gaynor, you might know this from your parents' generation, I will survive, right? Well, we will survive. And I like this little picture here. I find it very apropos. You've got this little green plant, this baby plant kind of pushing through a crack in the cement, surviving. And I think that we're all, we're very resilient. We'll make it through this. And, I'm there to kind of help you along in terms of academics, the academic side of it. The very last thing that I want to show you is something that you'll be able to find in Leia under distributed documents, and it's the semester plan. So if you like having a visual timetable, you have the dates for each week, the topics in very broad strokes, the activities. So for example, next week, first meeting on Monday for all, and then you're going to see this every Thursday, optional Zoom discussion, and then these are the assessments. So reading quiz when it's due, and then sometimes in bold you have the bigger assignments with the date that they're due. I suggest you put all these dates into your agenda or calendar, whatever it is that you use, and that'll make it easier for you to balance everything out. That's it for now. Don't be shy if you have any questions.